his track record speaks for itself as a head coach. But people evolve or devolve, and he's also had some things that in his own personal that I think are very, very commendable. To go to the next level. People forget you can be better than you were before. And I think what's your take on Texas as far as getting everything together and a very, very impressive coaching staff I think he's put together at Texas. How good do you think they can be, and how well do you think he can replicate what he did like Alabama's offense last year with Texas talent, with the existing Texas talent?
Yeah, there are coaches that have taken over programs, and even though they haven't had a chance to fully flip over the roster, have been able to make a huge difference. I don't know if Steve Sarkisian's that guy. He is from a schematic standpoint offensively. Nick Saban tells us we can see what he calls up and what he draws up is very innovative and very creative. But he also has, of course, the backing and the thumbs up from Nick Saban, who said that he's, as good of an offensive mind as he's ever worked with, and taught him a lot.
Texas talent has. Go ahead.
Yep. Well, I was just going to say that Sarkisian, to your point, I've stated it a number of ways here, that if you look at the head coaches before and after him at both USC and Washington, there's no reason that Steve Sarkisian earned that Texas job off of his head coaching resume. He wasn't a disaster, but he did not improve the situation at either stop, nor was there a drop-off when the next coach took over. Chris Peterson did a better job at Washington than Steve Sarkisian did. Both the coaches before and after Sarkisian at USC, Helton, and on the flip side, Kiffin, he didn't do anything from a win-loss standpoint to earn the Texas job. He was okay, but right. He earned that Texas job based on his affiliation with Nick Saban and being able to take great talent and display one of the best offenses in the history of college football.
And I think in my opinion, the difference could be to learn how to be a head coach from Nick Saban. And I think that is amplified by what Barry Switzer always said, talent wins ball games. I don't. My coaches win, my assistants win ball games. I don't. And when I think that is a learning thing that has to go in the plus column, that he might not fall back to be that coach. Now he's got the horses. He's got a very impressive, which to some degree, I know some of their backgrounds on the respective assistants that he's hired. And Texas's talent is there. Texas talent is recruited. They've got horses on that team, and this could be, I think, if they are impressive early. I don't think that they're going to have. I think they're going to handle it. I think they're going to handle Louisiana. I do worry about Arkansas because they've done an impressive job there, and I think that's going to be very, very tough to overcome at Arkansas after Louisiana. But I do think talent alone and what he's able to do, I think they're going to get past that. But I think Texas is. I really think it's a pick 'em with OU right now across the board with that talent. With Bijan and the other kid, I forgot the running back, very stellar. And if they can get some wide receivers and amp things up, they've got talent there. And I think that's where it's maybe from past history, we kind of grade on the curve sometimes and forget that coaches do evolve. And I think it might be his time to evolve, because I do think he's had some personal circumstances which admirably he is seemingly overcome in towards that track. I hate Texas, but I fear them. and I respect them. So I just interesting because I think they're very underrated right now, and I do think Bijan Robinson's capable of winning the Heisman trophy. The kid is really amazing when he's cut loose, and he just showed a part of that. And Tom Herman should have played him early on. I thought why they weren't playing the kid right out of the gate was beyond me, and most Texas fans kind of felt that way, even though he was hurt for a little while. That things could have been centered around him, but just want to kind of get your overall opinion on it.
Yeah, and to extend on your point, Tom Herman, of course, just having coached at Houston as a head coach, had never had that magnitude of a program, whereas even though Washington's not Texas, it's still a major, major program, and of course USC's on that same level. So now Sarkisian's had the experience of USC, Texas, or USC and Washington, plus the firsthand look at how Nick Saban runs a program, which is invaluable. And now he takes that all to Texas with him. So, yeah. And we've seen other coaches, Bill Belichick on the NFL level, screw up a first job and then learn from it. And we've seen Ed Orgeron, let's say, for example, not be able to handle, admittedly, a first big job, Ole Miss, but then learn at USC and then learn from his mistakes.
Nick Saban in the pros.
Yeah, Nick Saban in the pros.